Hey there, I hope you're doing well. One of my team members just reshared a post by Jan Kronberg, who had written, a post about. I reshared that too. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. It was about how difficult entrepreneurship is, and there's a nice video that illustrates it as a metaphor or a simile, whichever the right word here is. It resonated quite well with me, as I'm sure it did with a lot of the other entrepreneurs as well. So I want to do a quick video here, just hopefully a short one to share my 2 cents on it. I think I've said this before. I said that in the post that I reshared. I'm going to say it a third time here. Uh, for some of us, entrepreneurship is not just an option. There comes a phase of life that actually literally sort of becomes your only option that you can actually relate to. I Back in college, like 100 years ago, when I was in college, I'd taken a number of courses in entrepreneurship because I knew I wanted to be one from the get go. But as life has plans for you, it takes time to get there. At least for some of us. Uh, uh, Maybe a little bit longer than we would like for it to be, but that's all right. You just take life as it comes, and then you become an entrepreneur one day. And just before you become one, like in our case, let me take my example. I'd been building software for several years, for long periods of time, for really nice companies. Worked with great teams and remarkably smart, much smarter people than I could ever wish to be. So it wasn't new to me building software, not by a distance. So I was like, okay, I'm going to run into challenges, but I presume they were going to be more technical challenges because so Snowball is a software product company, so that's the only thing I kind of anticipated before we embarked on this journey years ago. As it turned out, and very quickly actually, it became obvious that sure, you're bound to have technical challenges. It's not going to be easy to build software. Regardless, even with the advent of AI, there is still a need for humans, maybe a slightly different kind of need, different from the needs that we've had in the past. But there is certainly going to be a need, at least hopefully so. But I back to what I was saying earlier. It became apparent that the challenges were going to be not just technical, or at least the technical challenges wouldn't be overwhelming because a lot of us had done that for many years and we knew how to find a solution, whatever the problem ends up being. But there are a number of other things that we did not have any experience in. Every facet of a software company, software development is architecture, engineering is one piece of the puzzle, and that's the only piece of the puzzle a lot of us were actually actively engaged in over the years. So you tend to not intentionally trivialize, but unintentionally think the other items are either easier or less important or whatever it is that you want to say. But you'll soon realize they are not just equally important. A lot of them are actually more important. What is the point in building more and more if you can't actually get out there in front of a customer, sell it, market it, create campaigns, provide support for it, understand the needs, make adjustments and accommodations, all the hiring and keeping your team motivated. There's everything else that goes into the running of a company that as a developer, as an architect, you tend to sort of underestimate, sort of think that it's not that difficult. But then, at least my personal journey, our journey at Snowball has been everything else that's been outside the core space of engineering has been a lot more challenging to us simply because it was not any of our skills necessarily, not in the top 5 skills that any of us actually did possess. And we hope we've tried to improve as years have gone by, as we've launched new products into the market. But similarly, the challenges have continued to evolve and change. Every time you think that you've conquered a problem and you've found a solution, a new one pops up. Some of them are reasonably, iterative or gradual. They're not seismic or sizable. But there are others like AI and generative AI, and every conversation around AI in the last 6 to 12 months has changed completely. I want to say like 180 degrees. How we are continuing to build software at Snowpal compared to how we did it 6 months ago is remarkably different. And when it's not different, it actually is a matter of concern to us because we know that it cannot be the same given everything that's going on. And 99% of it is not the hype, despite what you read in the news in the market. It is actually real, meaningful changes that have come about that either you adopt or you move on to doing something else, or be in denial. Because it's kind of surprising to me that even really really good smart people, at least that I've had recent conversations with, have sort of embraced AI and the changes that are coming, but not to the extent that we've done at Snowpal, or I would have expected for them to, because maybe there's this, it's natural to have this sense of fear. Is there an existential crisis of some sort? Only time has to tell. But all of these are challenges. And again, some of them are really big challenges. Some are smaller challenges, but there is a new one every single day. One day it's about bots signing up to your systems and dealing with those. How do you address, curb the bot requests and whatnot. Another day, it's your feature that you had anticipated that you want to get this done in like 3 to 4 weeks, and it's taking a little bit longer. Or maybe you didn't anticipate certain kinds of challenges, but those are technical challenges, and we are well equipped as a company to deal with those. Even though, those are going to keep coming about, we are not particularly worried about it now that we've done it like a million times, or it feels that way at least. The other challenges, like say, we've been focusing on content marketing the last 4 to 6 weeks, creating content around not just our solutions and products, but about technology in general. To, launching a new a consolidated site to actually bring all of our content together is something we've been meaning to do, but we never got the opportunity. So we took the time the last 4 to 6 weeks doing that. So that was a shift in the overall team's priorities from something else that we were doing. When you're a startup and you're moving fast, you have to make some compromises, and that's another challenge. Because deep down, you don't want to make any compromises. You want to do every single thing that's in your roadmap, and you want to do it much sooner than you've anticipated or expected for it to be done. And your expectations are quite aggressive. The smaller the company, the smaller the size of your teams, the faster you're going to try and do. It's just the way it works, right? It's inversely proportional, at least from what I've seen. Much larger organizations have a lot of money and a lot more time to getting the same things done. The smaller you are, you don't have the luxury, so you have to do things differently. How do you do everything that you do more efficiently than you've done in the past, or you did yesterday or the day before? All of those are challenges. Finding people, keeping your team happy, engaged, as everything else, it's a moving platform essentially. When there's a new technology shows up and there's a new framework or even a new library sometimes, the engineering team surely wants to use it. It's very understandable. We all want to, get our feet wet and hands dirty on things that we've not done before to keep us motivated. But there you have to draw a balance between that and things that need to get done that may not be super exciting. They're not boring, but they're still not remarkably different from what you've done the last month or two. So you have to sort of balance that so the team is happy. They feel, they're very passionate about what they're doing, because that's the key aspect to me to success. Because, there are many things, most things in life I don't think you can control. I think we believe we control our destiny. We do everything we can to doing it, but ultimately I feel like you have to be a fatalist. What's meant to happen is surely going to happen. You just don't know what it is or when it's going to happen. So you're going to put your best foot forward, work as hard as you can, but that only comes when everybody's motivated and genuinely motivated. How you motivate your teams, how you motivate yourself on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, all of that are things that you conveniently did not have to worry as a developer, as an architect, or when you're as a consultant, because somebody's paying you, you get something done. You do that to the best of your abilities. You're done. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, and you move on to the next thing. Or if you're a full-time employee, you continue to do that for the same company, maybe in the same team or different teams. But it's very, I would say, iterative or organic, if that's the right word. But in a startup, things are not necessarily that way. It's pretty exponential. You're doing something today, you're doing something dramatically different tomorrow, and maybe even the second session, you're doing something very different. Even in the space of development engineering or architecture, every week, even every other day tends to be quite different from the previous day, because you have, at least at Snowball, let's say we have web apps, mobile apps, APIs, and you name it, we've got something, our feed in there. So there's a number of there's a lot of context switching that needs to happen. That's a challenge for some people, not so much for others, but it is a challenge. How do you keep switching context and not lose your focus and your productivity levels? These are, again, I just said a number of things. I didn't number them. I didn't say top 10 or anything of that nature. It's just things I'm thinking of as I'm recording this into a video. But hopefully I've covered a fair set of things here. And, if you've been wanting to start a company or be an entrepreneur, the best time has already passed, which was yesterday. So the next best time is today. So just go for it. We don't have any regrets other than the fact that whatever we started, whenever we started, we just feel like we could have done it a little bit earlier. We did do it as quickly as we could. But sometimes, like I said, things take time. Life comes in the way of your plans. So keep chugging along. You're going to be discouraged by things that happen or things that do not happen that are outside your control or maybe sometimes in your control. But that's okay. Just go for a walk. Maybe have a nice cup of tea or give it a day, take a break, come back after a day and you're like, you know what, you forget what did not happen the way you wanted for it to happen. And then you get started all over again. And there are going to be people who encourage you along the way, surely, and hopefully so. There are going to be people that discourage you, either, mostly unintentionally, sometimes perhaps even intentionally so, but let's give folk the benefit of the doubt. A lot of times people are trying to discourage you, not necessarily because they want to, it's because they truly believe that, maybe they've tried it, maybe they failed, maybe it didn't work out for them. So they're going to share their opinions and feelings and experiences with you, which you should learn from. And all of that is invaluable, but it's still, you're a different person. You're a different company. You have a different brain. You have a different intellect. You have a different set of challenges. You have a different budget. So all of that is not unique. All of that is unique. It's not common, even though everything else might seem on the surface that it's identical. So challenge yourself, ask yourself if you can do it. There's two answers to it. One is it's you can, which means you should. The other answer is you cannot, in which case you should disagree with the answer and then still do it, because it's as simple as that. And if a lot of what I'm saying here sounds like the obvious, then you're in better shape already because you know all of this. Personally, for me and for a lot of us in the company, we did not. We just learned by doing it, sometimes by doing it right, a lot of times by doing it not so right, and making those adjustments, accepting that things have to change. We have to adapt. We have to move on from one to the other, whether it's technology, whether it's enhancements, whether it's features, whether it's bugs, and learning all facets of running a company. That to me is the most important thing. The sooner that you do it in your career, in my personal opinion, the better off you might be. Because personally, as much as I've enjoyed, everything that I've done in my life for other clients and companies, there are times where I feel like I was doing something very specific, very small, but very deep for long periods of time, which was great because you tend to learn quite a bit about it. For instance, I've spent like 6 months implementing caching, which is not a terribly long amount of time, but it's a pretty long time, caching alone. But when we do caching for our products at Snowpal, that's one of the things we do. We certainly can't afford to spend 6 months on it. So we spend like 6 days on it, or maybe like a few weeks on it. When you're working for a much larger organization, you might be working in a team that's all you have to do, which is awesome in some ways, and not so much in others, because now you don't have the ability to sort of spread your wings. So these are some of my initial thoughts. Hopefully some resonate with you, and hopefully you agree with some, even if not all of it. Thanks for watching. And before I end, definitely go to products.snowpal.com, which is a consolidated site for all of our products. We've got documentation for our products. We've got our podcasts, our courses, our education platform, our web apps, mobile apps, and APIs. Everything's got a reference starting this website here. So definitely go start there and then check out all our other products. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.